My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
It's Wild Wild Pest, the deep dive podcast about the South's most notorious outlaws.
Palmetto Pete and his posse were the nastiest cockroaches you could ever fear to meet.
Nope.
Trespassing, loitering, scaring innocent folk when they turned on the light.
No thanks.
And that's not to mention all the diseases the germ-ridden no-good-nicks were known to spread.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, but fear not. Terminix was on the case with all the skills, experience, and tools needed to outdraw the outlaws. Learn more at trustterminix.com.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Looking for a great haircut or shave experience? Come to Champion Salon and Barber. Our skilled barbers and stylists are dedicated to giving you the best service possible. Whether you need a simple haircut or a complete grooming package, we have you covered. And while you're here, feel free to enjoy a complimentary beer and chat with our friendly staff. We have 2 convenient locations in Waco and Woodway, Texas. You can also book appointments online or through our app, making it easy to schedule your next visit. So why wait? Visit Champion Salon and Barber today and experience a cut above the rest.
BooBaes.
Hello.
And hi.
And welcome to
BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right. We're your host. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about some funny horror.
I thought we'd switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Some deadpan horror.
Very dead.
Or comedy, my bad. Not horror.
Deadpan.
It is deadpan because they're all dead. And that's horror,
dead.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is The Dead Don't Die.
2019. Directed by Jim
Jarmusch.
Jarmusch.
That's how it looks like.
Yeah, Jarmusch is how I would have guessed, but I wasn't 1000% sure.
I only know because I looked him up and I actually watched a video of someone actually saying his name.
Oh.
So that's why I know it's Jarmusch.
That makes sense. It's got a very star-loaded cast. We've got Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, Chloe
Sevigny.
I was like, I have no clue how to say her name. Danny Glover, Selena Gomez. So many people.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi is also in there.
Iggy Pop apparently was in it. I don't remember seeing Iggy Pop.
He was the zombie, the coffee zombie.
Oh, okay. I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Oh, and Rosie Perez was in it too. There's definitely a lot of people.
Caleb Landry Jones from Get Out.
Played Bobby, right? That was his name? Yeah.
A very different character.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He did a good job.
I didn't hate Bobby as much.
Yeah.
And then Austin Butler.
Yeah, Elvis. Carol Kane.
Where's Carol Kane from? What is she from?
Oh, she was in the thing that I remember her most from is The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, yes. Yes. She played her tenant or something?
Yeah, the landlord.
The landlord. There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, she's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Her part was pretty hilarious.
Chardonnay.
Not a hard, I guess probably maybe one of her easiest roles ever because she only had one line.
Yep. Chardonnay.
But honestly, I feel like that was probably one of the funnier parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can dive right in. It starts off with get to my notes here.
Cliff and
Ronnie.
Cliff is Bill Murray and Ronnie is Adam Driver. And we're with the police car patrolling their police officers, and they're patrolling kind of an area, and they're going to investigate somewhat of Hermit Bob.
Yeah, because Farmer Miller called in that his chickens were going missing.
Yeah.
And so he was blaming it on Bob, who's apparently living in the woods. And
He's a hermit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
I like that his full name, Hermit Bob.
Hermit Bob, yeah, nothing else. But I feel like it's kind of like every town has that one person that like everybody knows for one thing kind of situation, or in movies at least. I
love how when they walk up, he was like, stealing a chicken, that's illegal, by the way.
Yeah.
Or against the law, by the way. And then he shoots at him and he was like, that's also illegal.
Mm-hmm.
That was funny.
Bill Murray does a really good job throughout the whole movie of just basically talking, and everything. It sounds like it could be a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they, like you said, come up on him and stuff. And basically Ronnie is like, should we do something about it? And he's just, Cliff says, I've known him for a long time. Like, we're just going to leave it.
Junior high.
Yeah.
Adam or Ronnie was like, well, that had to be like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it was.
And so, basically.
I like as they walk off too. He goes, hey, Cliff, fuck you.
Uh-huh.
That was funny too.
And so he,
so weird.
just lets him go because he's just like, he's never hurt anybody. So, and he apparently doesn't like Farmer Miller. He says he's an asshole.
Yeah, which, as we can then see later,
he kind of is.
Farmer Miller is an asshole.
And he's played by Steve Buscemi.
Keep America white again.
Oh, yeah.
Or make America white again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely a like spoof of like a really staunch MAGA conservative type of farmer Republican persona. And so at this point, they're back in the cop car. We're going back to town, and that's when we get our song, right? The Dead Don't Die.
Yep.
It starts playing.
They play it on the radio, and
we get our title
card. Yeah, that's right.
But then after that, that's when we get kind of more of that backstory of like Hermit Bob while they're on their way back. Yeah. And pretty on up fast, Cliff asked Ronnie like what time it is, and we know right now that his watch and his phone are acting up. They're not working properly. And he's like, but it should be past 8 p.m., but the sun is still shining, so it hasn't gone down.
Yeah, so something's going on.
I love how they're just like, that's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
This daylight savings got me all out of whack.
And
it's like, that's different than daylight savings.
Yeah.
For it to be up past 8 p.m.
It's pretty
Which
late.
in some parts of the world, that's totally normal, but
not here.
Not there.
Or not, they're not in Alaska where it's like daylight for so many months and the opposite the next few months. But at this point, we get someone on the radio, like a news broadcasting, broadcast going on, and talking about how basically the sun isn't going down or something. Like something is going weird. I don't know if we get the mention of polar fracking just yet, but she is mentioning something on the radio of like weird anomalies happening.
Yeah, it was Mindy talking into them, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what it was.
I think Mindy called
on the radio, on their like cop radio,
on their hand radio, and she was saying like, "Hey, there's some really weird stuff going on," but then of course right at all the important parts, and I think she was trying to say like polar fracking and stuff. It just was like
it was going in and out.
Yeah. And so you couldn't actually understand basically a word that Mindy was saying. And then all of a sudden the radio dies. And that's when we find out that Ronnie's cell phone is completely dead at this point. And then this is when The Dead Don't Die plays again on the actual radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Cliff.
God, it's going to be so hard because
not calling them Bill or not calling their actual names.
Yeah, because all of them are such major names. So
and also it just seems like it seems like they're as well kind of just playing a version of themselves as opposed to like characters, because like, they're not too far from who they are.
Tilda Swinton, Zelda Winston.
Yeah.
Basically the same name.
And that's basically how she kind of talks in other roles.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just Tilda.
She's just Tilda.
Yeah, it's just Tilda.
Exactly. It was hard to, but anyways.
He asked like, why is this song on again or something like that, right?
Or he was like, why does this song sound so familiar?
That's right.
He was like, I feel like I know this. Why? What is this song? And Ronnie's like, well, it's the theme song. Kind of breaks that
fourth wall.
Yeah. Very meta and stuff like that in on itself. And that part was just really funny to me.
Yeah.
I have very dry sense of humor, so this movie very much was right up my alley. It was half of my notes say LOL.
It was super dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was But in essence too, looking up and understanding more of the director who directed it, a lot of he's had a long career, like a span of so many years, like decades. And so his movies are more kind of that he likes to show like real life, and like it's not going to be like some action sequence. It's kind of more of a film to like either spark dialogue, make you talk about it, kind of being a metaphor for something else type of situation. And that's what I feel like a lot of this movie was, because it's heavy on like, it's just mainly a lot of conversations between all the kind of different townsfolk that
all
are
the
throughout
real people
in life. In their town. And this kind of just apocalyptic situation is happening around them,
which
essentially.
ends up for some comical situations,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, every small town I feel like could relate to this film. They'd be like, oh, I totally know a Fern who works at the diner,
or the diner,
and stuff like that,
or the farmer, or the hermit Bob like situation, the town recluse or town weirdo. But we quickly then get to the diner, right? Because this is when we're introduced to Farmer Bill sitting there with Farmer Miller with Hank.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like how they take on the way to the diner that we basically take a nice little like tour of all of Centerville. We drive past every single important part
that we see throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Kind of
all
foreshadowing.
the stories, lines that we're going to be following. The only storyline that seemed kind of odd to me was the children.
It was very out of place.
Very random.
It never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Towards the end, because
who knows if they lived.
We don't know. It never cut back to them. They
don't
escaped
really
ish, but like then it was just like, okay,
yeah,
that story's done. I also was just like, maybe for a few points, like at the beginning, because Geronimo, I think that was his name, kind of explained everything that would happen.
Yeah.
So maybe that was his, but like, why not just make that
Adam Driver's?
Because he was also explaining things.
Yeah.
Or make
Bobby.
that another kid that was in town, but not have this whole like separate detention center type of situation happening. And then also the dude that kept like coming in and talking to the kids, I was like, why are they like harassing these children?
Yeah, so mean.
It's so aggressive.
So mean.
Yeah.
It was really ridiculous.
But probably also a commentary on something socially. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. We did just get to
the diner,
and we're with Hank and Farmer Miller. And yet again, The Dead Don't Die is playing. They hammed it up. It is the theme song. So,
every instance they could play it, they played it.
And then everyone's like, fucking Sturgill Simpson.
Or exactly, anytime it would come on, someone would acknowledge that it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
And they end up just having, they're talking, they're conversing, I don't remember the word. Correct. And
conversing, you were right.
What was the lady's name? The waitress? Fern. Okay, got it. Yeah. And we just have like
played by someone driver. I wonder
as a relation to Adam.
Yeah,
maybe
their noses were similar.
It was Adam Driver in full drag.
Just
pseudonym, stage name. But they're just
Fern would be a good drag name,
wouldn't it?
I like it.
Fern. I think just anything Fern, just anything named Fern. Something Fern. They're just talking essentially, and we're getting to know more of like who these characters are within their town. Like obviously we're getting to learn even more like that Farmer Miller's an asshole.
Yeah.
And they're talking about what's getting reported on the radio station, right? Why do I keep feeling that happens a lot? Like we hear
the radio and the news channel, it tells us if you don't understand that this is caused by the polar fracking, then you are seriously just stupid.
You missed the point.
Yeah, because
they're hammering it at heavy.
They're really trying to let you know there's no confusion whatsoever that it is the polar fracking throwing the earth off its axis, and then the people being like, that's total lies, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was happening on the radio, and that's when I think one of them, I think Fern just turns it off because
that's what people do. Like we're just like, whatever, not bothering us right now in the moment, so we'll just turn it off, ignore it.
Yeah, and Hank tried to ask some questions about it, but
and then Farmer Miller's being like, the whatever, what's the word? He doesn't believe in the hoopla.
Yeah.
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 Skeptical. He's being skeptic. And then I think, what is it? I don't remember, but somehow we get to a joke about the coffee.
Might as well be Amish. Is that the joke?
No, there were so many jokes that Farmer Miller made that I'm like, oh, that's.
Oh, he says the that's too black for me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right in front of Hank.
And he was
with his hat on that says, let's make America white again.
Yeah, exactly. And Hank was just like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Hank was such a polite character.
Yeah.
Such a kind,
more than he needed to
loving character. Because he put up with Farmer Miller's
racist, rude remarks, microaggressions.
Racism.
And like, it's like basically the embodiment of kill him with kindness. But yeah, he made a lot of like jokes. And then I love how he was like, oh, you know what I mean. I just like Farmer Miller. And yeah. It was pretty bad for him.
He also said something about might as well be Amish, but I don't remember what that was in reference to. I just put LOL.
He made a lot of jokes that were insensitive to probably all communities. But then we get back to Bobby, who is at the what was it? Like a little convenient gas.
Oh, well, we also this is where what you were talking about earlier. We flashed to Geronimo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Basically spitting straight facts about, it's like this little blip where it goes then to the news station with the detention center kids. And Geronimo's basically explaining exactly what's going to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
And
the polar racking through the world off its axis. That means that
lunar tides are going to change, stuff like that.
Basically everything we see in like
plants won't grow,
2012 and all those kind of movies, like that deal with climate change and
we see
major disasters happening.
Pictures on the news and stuff too, with like hurricanes and tsunamis, and
it's already happening globally.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly. And he says it's basically going to cause mass calamity. But then we're back at Bobby's shop,
and he is I just thought, it's the dude from Get Out.
Yeah. I didn't, I'm going to be honest, I didn't recognize him.
Oh, really?
I knew him from somewhere. I was like, why
do I know this face?
Is he? And then looking at the
IMDb or
looking at the cast list, once I saw his picture there, I was like, oh.
Without all the long hair and stuff. And like,
I was like, that's the guy from Get Out. But I did not recognize him for some reason in this film.
He not as hateable as his other character.
No, not at all. He was actually quite lovable in this one. I was really sad when Bobby and Hank.
Yeah, because at this point
I was like, no.
He is. It's just kind of in social interaction between him and the FedEx or UPS driver.
Whoops.
Whoops. Is that what it was called?
WUPS.
Okay, I get it now. It's a joke. And they're just having a conversation about what's happening, and the dude is the carrier is telling him like, this is because the fuller fracking and all that shit.
The end of the world.
It's nigh, and kind of like the harbinger of death for this movie. Yeah. Essentially. Yeah.
I was also sad when he died.
Yeah.
Whenever I saw him inside the thing, I was like, no.
Yeah. Oh. Nobody made it though.
I also kind of shipped him and Bobby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it for them?
I did.
They're
kind of gave a little bit of. Like Bobby, whenever the Whoops driver was leaving, I forgot his name. He was like, hey, like, tell me some wisdom and stuff. And like, just the way that he hesitated, I was like, love this man. You have to. I don't care.
You are canonically shipping them.
Yep. You have to be. You have to be gay now.
I was getting more like Yoda and like Luke Skywalker, Master and Padawan. But who knows? Maybe Luke fucked Yoda at some point.
Yeah, it could have been a
lover's tryst
power dynamic thing.
And so, yeah, I love how he just like says some really basic ass like, what did he say? Did you write it down?
The world is perfect. Appreciate the details.
Yeah,
that was his wisdom.
It's like a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
And then we're gone from them, and I think it picks back up to a lot of times it's cutting in between Hermit Bob, just kind of like
Hermit Bob's our narrator.
He is, yeah.
He narrates this film for us basically,
and especially
at the end.
watching people, spying on people. Also, just like, and for instance, right now he starts like looking around and he picks up like mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah, and he was like, "You're not supposed to be here."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's like, because it was like these bright orange mushrooms.
Yeah.
That were growing, and he was just like, "This is weird." And this is where he looks at the ant pile, right, and says,
"Yeah, the ants are."
I don't know. I wrote it down at the end because he repeats it
Mm-hmm.
at the end, but I didn't write it down here.
Well, it's that they're like doing something odd that they don't usually do or something like that.
And I think he says something about the ants being reanimated as well.
Oh, the dead ones. That would.
Which isn't that a thing?
Dead ants reanimating or I don't know.
That could just be something I dreamt.
I've never
Zombie
heard of
ants.
that. There are zombie ants, but it's not like dead ants themselves. It's that they get parasites and they take over their brain. And I mean, they're basically
that
the
must be
ant.
what it is.
The ant is dead, but the parasite is using its body as basically like a car.
Yeah.
Just to get around.
What's that one wasp that like gets in cockroaches' brains and melts their brains? Do you remember that one?
I don't remember the name, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty wild too.
I mean, just that, like even fishes, there are certain parasites that will go and swim into their mouths and they will latch themselves onto the tongue and essentially start digesting the tongue to where it goes away. And they then latch themselves onto the like nodule that's left and become essentially the tongue of the fish. And so they start to eat whatever the fish is trying to get. Wow. And essentially the fish never eats, and eventually so it dies out, and then they'll just plop off and go find another fish to latch onto and just eat whatever it starts eating.
Poor fishy. That's very sad.
Parasites, man, they'll do it.
Yeah.
And at this point, I love how this movie is jumping from character to character throughout the town, little small storylines essentially. And I think we're going to the Moonlight Hotel now.
We are, and the guy, Danny, I think his name.
Yeah.
And Danny like licks the fucking. He's like, "Here, kitties."
Yeah.
Giving him wet cat food, and then licks the spoon. And
after.
I was like, ugh. I cannot imagine licking.
You never do that, Caitlin?
No.
Yeah, that's a bit gross.
It's so stinky. Whenever I get it out of the can, I'm like, this stinky. The kitties lose their mind, but
they go feral, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're like, I have to walk into the bathroom downstairs, that hall bath, and lock myself in there when I get it out. Otherwise, they're like on the counters, like,
and they won't get. Yeah.
And the same thing when I make my vegetarian tuna fish for myself.
They smell that shit.
Yeah, and they think it's real tuna, and I'm like, this isn't even real.
They're super cute. I remember the one time I went over and you had these like tube snack stuff for them, or was it because they were still babies? They were eating that. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I do still give them tube snacks, the little tubes,
and they were
tubes,
just like
Go-Gurt. Yeah,
like little monsters, little gremlins.
They really do turn into gremlins when it comes to treat time and wet food. They lose their mind.
They're super cute.
They would be like, it would have been really weird at this instant if they didn't show up when I put out wet food. I would have been
something's
like,
wrong.
What the hell's going on?
Or they're getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what Danny
and that's
thought.
what because they're not popping up. And
happened on.
We already did understand, I think, from some earlier news reporter radio thing that the animals were acting weird.
That's the current news report.
That's the current one right now, right?
Danny's watching it.
And so
animals
that's
acting
going on,
wild, disappearing.
And then it also cuts to Farmer Miller's house, and he's noticing that his cows are missing.
Cows and all of his chickens now, not just one of them. Which it turns out that Hermit Bob did steal at least one chicken.
Yeah.
Because at the end when he was like,
or maybe he just found it.
Yeah.
Like it ran off and he took like, you're mine now.
You're my
free game.
Yeah.
Farmer Miller's dead. And we see the cows running off because Hermit Bob is watching them, and they're going to like
the forest,
like literally,
They're just weird spot for a cow, but they can probably sense some sort of danger and probably trying to hide.
They're getting out of Dodge.
Yeah. Must have been why all the animals were acting wild and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like thinking their fight or flight was on and they were on fight mode.
It's like the Signs. Remember the movie Signs? When all the dogs were like peeing on themselves and like acting aggressive out of nowhere when they don't usually.
Exactly.
But we're cutting back to the station, I think. Yeah. Because at this point, this is where we get Mallory, which she had been there the whole the whole time, right?
Yeah, she was in there.
Just kind of with the body sheet over her.
Yeah.
In one of the cells. And they can't do anything with her body because the morgue, they can't take her for like another 3 days or something like that, or over the weekend.
Yeah, she needs to be transferred out of the county.
Yeah.
For some reason. And that county can't come get her because Zelda was ready to get her.
Yeah.
Zelda was like, let me have this body. But she wouldn't give it. They were like, no,
That's
she
right.
needs to be transferred out. So yeah, for some reason though, she's just rotting in this jail cell.
Yeah.
It's small town stuff. I guess it's normal.
No ice chest or anything.
Nope,
just sitting out.
And we picked this movie because it's a kind of a summertime movie. It's happening in the summer. And
imagine the heat.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That body just
this body's
rotten.
just bloating.
And decomposition happens like
rather quickly
and immediately is what I'm trying to get at. So
and in the heat too.
Ugh, yeah.
Had to be stinky.
And so I think, what is it at this point? They leave to go check out because Mindy's there now, right? And we're getting introduced to Mindy.
Yeah. Yeah, Mindy comes in. They're basically just having little chit chat back and forth. It's short of writing this movie's entire dialogue down.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to take notes on it because it was just like, well,
because it really is, like I said earlier, like it's just showing like what a normal day to day kind of situation would be like.
Yeah.
And they're also kind of not treating like the weird stuff right now as like, oh, the world is ending just yet.
They're
it's
just like
kind of like, oh, strange stuff's happening. Oh, that's weird.
But okay.
Yeah.
Let's just move along with
and
our
going
life.
about their normal day stuff.
Yeah, because they're like bantering about their Prius and stuff or something. Because it's like, should I drive you home?
Yeah.
And she was like, can you even fit 2 people in that smart car of yours? And he was like, it sits 2 very comfortably and stuff. And then they were going like having a war of electric cars with the Prius and the smart car.
And I love it because then you see them how they like pull up later at the diner whenever they're going to check out Fern and the other lady. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
But now we're back at the diner and we have
do at this point though, we do get one conversation bit.
Which one?
That Ronnie says, if you ask me, this whole thing is going to end badly.
That's right.
And then
that pops up a lot later.
This was the second time he had mentioned it because he had mentioned it earlier in the what's it called, police car. I almost said officer vehicle.
Officer vehicle.
It's
not. Officer vehicle.
Still right.
It
but
works.
Not the correct vernacular.
Yeah.
And he said it in there, and Cliff just kind of moved on from it. But this time, Cliff confronts him, and he's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I don't know. It's just a strong feeling." But yeah, then we're back at the diner.
At the diner.
And they're talking about Zelda Winston.
Yeah. And basically everybody thinks she's weird.
Yeah. There was like Zelda. I saw Zelda. Oh, wait, no. That's when we flipped to them. I was like Zelda praying to Buddha.
To Fern and Lily.
And also doing katana stuff.
Oh, that happens like right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because basically they're just talking about that.
They're not talking like shit. But
no.
They're also just being like, she's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah. Which is like everybody's consensus throughout.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do kind of then see her character and she's a little fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is.
She's not your typical person, which we get to find out later, which actually, I don't know. She could be a person, but also she could be an alien.
I think.
An alien. Right? Yeah. And that's why she was acting the way she acts. But yeah, sorry. Anyways.
Especially when she was driving the smart car and she was like, what a strange little piece of machinery.
Or and there's even moments like later on when she's talking to Ronnie and she notices his keychain and it's the Star Wars thing. It's like, Star Wars, what a great work of fiction. Like, because that's about aliens, I guess. Yeah. And so, yeah,
and
right.
Also funny because it was Adam Driver.
And he's from Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll forget. I didn't even, honestly, yeah. That went right over my head until just now.
Really?
Yeah. And I know he's Kylo Ren, and I went in even thinking like, oh yeah, it's from Star Wars, but I didn't think about it. But yeah, she's getting brought up, and then we get introduced to her. Do we not? And that's when she's doing her katana stuff.
Yeah. She's like, it is somewhat like praying to the Buddha statue, but then also doing like this cool katana dance, kind of
very Kill Bill-ish.
Yeah,
and like
very much so.
Yeah. I don't know. Like in this moment, it felt like a sequence where it's like it should have been in another movie where like the fighter is getting ready to defeat the master type of situation. I don't know.
It also kind of reminded me of Doctor Strange.
Oh, really?
And her character in Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah. That's true. 'Cause she
kind of
was like a type of monk type of character.
Doing similar motions, but of course, in Doctor Strange, it causes portals and stuff like that.
It's magic or whatever. But yeah, so she had a lot of practice for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we watch her doing all of this. And at this point, I think what happens, because she's
her
the morgue owner.
Looks really cool.
And yeah,
I remember after watching this movie, I did my eye makeup
just like her
for like a long time. I would put the red just like in this
the
part
corners
of my eye. Yeah. And
the creases, sorry, not corners.
Yeah. And she really inspired me in this film. I liked it.
Thank you, Tilda Swinton.
Thank you, Tilda, and the costume and makeup designer.
Everybody who had a part of that.
But the bodies, yes. So she's the morgue owner.
Yeah.
And the body's hand is popped out.
As she walks out from a room to go, I guess, from room to room. And she's like, that's strange or weird.
Yeah.
No, it's just weird. Because everybody's saying weird. That's weird.
That's weird.
And she pops the little hand back in.
And she tells him to stay put.
And she ends up walking out. And then at this time,
she's so remarkably calm for all of this.
Yeah, because it's like, that
but I feel like as a
body shouldn't move.
Morgue assist coroner, you kind of have to be like
used to strange things.
You're already doing a very like inherently kind of scary job.
Creepy.
Yeah, creepy, spooky, ooky. And so I feel like, and then bodies as they're going through rigor mortis and everything like do move and tighten up or like release gas and stuff like that.
Their nerves might still flinch or something. So something can be explained as as something rational as opposed to like, well, they're zombies now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Although immediately I would think zombie.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, that's not normal.
Yeah. And transitioning, it's nighttime now. Which is, we had been going and hearing that like, the sun hadn't been setting. So now it's nighttime. It's dark. And at this point we go to, my note says kids talking. What are the kids talking? Is it the kids in the car? We
flash to Cliff sleeping in the cell next to Mallory for like half a second.
That's right.
And then we're back with the kids, Liv and Stell. Liv wakes up from a nightmare. That's and right. She like wakes with the start, and then Stell comes over and is like, or Stella, I'm not sure, comes over and was like, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And Liv's just like, I don't know. I just got this really creepy feeling.
Yeah.
And that's when we then pop to
Hermit Bob, right?
Hermit Bob, yeah.
And he's doing his binocular thing and watching shit. And that's
watching
when
the moon, and he says toxic lunar vibrations.
Oh, yeah, because the moon is like pink and green looking. It has this like cover over it, this weird aura.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like glowing.
Yeah.
It's got an aura around it. Exactly. Yeah.
And the dead start rising at this point, I believe.
That's when people start coming out of their grave.
We get our first two that I guess I didn't know was Iggy Pop.
Yep.
Who was the other lady? She's super famous. Was that another one you named that was famous?
Don't think so.
Did I just miss? Okay.
Oh, Sarah Driver.
That's the Sarah Driver one?
Yeah,
okay.
Sarah Driver was the female coffee zombie.
Interesting.
Coffee zombie number 1 is Iggy Pop's official.
Oh, okay. So Sarah Driver is Jim's partner, the director.
Oh.
Yeah. I know who Iggy Pop is, but yeah. That's basically his partner. Doesn't say wife, but it says partner.
Partner.
Yeah.
Interesting. And she's like, so Iggy Pop's is coffee zombie number 1. That's his like official
name title.
And then she's female coffee zombie.
Cute. Okay, she's apparently been in like his things and then a few other things. That's cool. But yeah, they pop out and this is basically, they're doing their whole what zombies do and just kind of doing the zombie thing and walking out, and they're gonna go look out for their next meal, or their first meal, I guess I'd say.
Yep. And they happen to stumble upon Fern and Lily, who were still in the diner just talking and stuff.
They're closing down shop. I guess Lily cleans up and stuff, and Fern is just like, well, ain't no more customers, I'm out, peace out, I'll see you in the morning.
She's done all of her stuff.
And so she ends up trying to leave, but before she can even get out the door, of course, we have Coffee Zombie number 1 and Coffee Zombie number 2 come in, and she's trying to tell them that they're closed. But before she can even like get 3-4 words in, she starts getting attacked by them.
Yeah,
I think she starts screaming like, "What happened to you?" Like you start to hear us like, "What happened to you?" Because they look fucked up.
Yeah,
and she gets pretty much mauled.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty bad for her.
Gets eaten into, and then her little intestines.
Pretty good practical effects.
Yeah, I agree. And then Lily's getting attacked, she's like, I'm going to shove this wooden broomstick up your ass.
Yeah,
like,
she's like trying to be as threatening and like
she was funny.
Protecting herself, but literally he just like hopped on her and she was like, and fell down.
Yeah.
And she also started getting eaten alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she got her intestines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was munching on like the long intestine or something. For a little bit before they saw Coffee, and then they were like, Coffee.
Yeah, I think she saw it first, right? And then she starts pouring it on herself, and then he starts doing it. And then they start smashing the pots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he actually carries one out with him. He keeps one of the pots with him, but they were smashing all the mugs and one of the pots, which I just had to imagine how, I mean, obviously they probably use cold coffee, but.
Oh, yeah. But dousing yourself with all of that or maybe it's just water with food coloring. But I mean, I'm sure coffee isn't that bad. I'm sure they were just like, we'll just make some coffee and make it, we'll let it cool off, make it cold.
Yeah. But I imagine
room temperature maybe.
That this coffee was actually hot, like supposed to be hot for the film's purpose.
That's true. Yeah. Like the zombies are throwing hot ass coffee on themselves. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, just probably scalding their skin so they don't even know.
But they don't feel it.
They don't feel it.
And so Fern and Lily gone, kaput. They're dead. And
DED dead.
And then it's the next morning already. I guess the sun came up. I don't know. But at this point, they end up going to check the diner out because they get a call that shit's going down at the diner.
Yep, from Hank. Hank waits.
That's
up,
right. And he
Cliff.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was like, is it already 10:06 or whatever, something like that. So the timing, the light and stuff was, again, off.
Throwing everybody's schedule off.
Yeah.
And Hank was like, I woke up early. I thought, I'd go get some breakfast before I start getting my stuff done. And you need to get down here. It's awful. It looks like a mess, essentially. And so they go to check it out. And I love how Cliff is the first one to get there. And he goes inside, we see the bodies, and he walks out and he's like, well, what do you think did that? Was it a wild animal?
Several wild animals?
Literally.
And the way that it's repeated like 4 times is my favorite.
Well, because then
everyone.
It's funny how, I almost called him Adam, Ronnie and, Mindy. I almost called her Dina. Ronnie and Mindy pull up and they are both in their smart cars. And then how he's like the same thing. Like, did a wild animal do that? Several wild animals, and their delivery is all like the exact same. Yeah. So it's
I
perfect.
Also love how he walked in and goes, "Oh, yuck." It's so completely like monotone, just like, "Oh,
yeah,
yuck."
That's
Icky.
it. Very much that.
Yeah.
His new ick was unlocked.
Because he says yuck multiple times and throughout it too. Every time he gets like close to a zombie, he's like, yuck.
Yeah.
And I think yuck is just such a funny word. I don't know why.
It sounds very like a little kid, like icky, ooey. Yeah. A little childish maybe.
Yuck. Yeah, because you would expect an adult or something to be like, oh shit.
Or say other words than just yuck.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's a scene where it's like kind of should bring more out of you than just yuck.
Yeah.
It seems also a little bit like not empathetical, like, oh, that's gross. Who's going to clean that up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get this out of here.
For real.
I would like to order some coffee, please.
For real. Where's Fern? Oh, shit. She's on the floor.
She's dead. That's right.
Literally.
Get a new Fern. Did you know you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee? I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned the bottle around to actually see what's inside. When I did, I found out many of my favorite creamers contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, ew, and artificial flavors. Laird Superfood all started when big wave surfer Laird Hamilton needed morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. He couldn't find anything in the market that met his ingredient standards, so made himself the ultimate plant-based creamer. Laird Superfood started and launched its first product, Original Superfood Creamer, in 2015. Laird Superfoods contain no artificial flavors, colors, or additives, and no sugars from highly refined corn syrup. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. All Laird products are also made of all-natural whole food ingredients, and they are crafted from the highest quality all-natural real food ingredients. Are you ready to feel more energized, focused, and supported? Go to lairdsuperfood.com and add nourishing plant-based foods to fuel you from sunrise to sunset. Use our promo code BOO at checkout to save 15% off your purchase today.
I love smoothies, but I don't love smoothie bar prices. With my BlendJet 2 portable blender, I can make smoothie bar quality beverages for a fraction of the price. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. There are also over 30 plus colors to choose from. I myself chose black because it matches the color of my soul. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to this quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
So we got a new Fern. Just kidding, we didn't.
We didn't.
Fern's dead.
Gone. She's dead. Plus Lily.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're transitioning to some new characters mid-movie a little bit.
I shipped Hank and Fern, too.
You did?
Yeah.
Aw. Hank with everybody.
Not Hank. Hank, the Whoops driver.
Oh, my bad.
Different.
Different shipment. My bad. You meant Hank and Fern. Aw. Okay, I can see that.
He seemed very distraught at her death.
Mm-hmm.
Which, they were also just friends.
Well,
I would be distraught if you died.
Distraught. I feel like I would be distraught too if I walked up, even on people that I didn't know, and their like intestines were ripped out and all over the place.
Just in like complete shock.
Yeah. Because it's not even like you walk up on like just a dead body. It's like a gruesome dead body.
Yeah.
That's
one that has been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I also loved how the whole time they're just ignoring the 3 randos in the back that were just crying and stuff. And
then how Cliff is like, get this crowd under control. And it's literally just 3 people. But at this
you're
point,
on crowd control.
That's right. And I think at this point too, Ronnie does mention, he's like, I think it was zombies.
Yeah, because Cliff goes,
what could have done that?
What could have done that? Yeah. And he was like, you want to really know what I'm thinking?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking zombies, ghouls, the undead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, he's not wrong.
He's not too far off from the truth. But of course, Cliff is, he, for a good portion of the movie, is like skeptical.
Yeah.
He's not thinking zombie. I mean, he knows something weird is happening, but he's not thinking zombies.
Yeah, because unless you're like a fan of sci-fi and stuff, that probably isn't going to be your immediate reaction.
Yeah, and I think until you see a zombie, if you told me zombies were, even if like the sky was dark and stuff was happening outside right now, if you told me zombies were outside, I probably would still be like, until I see a zombie in front of me, I'd probably be like, probably not.
Probably not real.
Yeah.
And if they were zombies, I would hope that they would be like these zombies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're not as scary as like the Train to Busan zombies
Mm-hmm.
and stuff
those
like
are,
that.
You're fucked with those. They're too fast.
They're so
too
fast.
And I feel like those are like the World War Z zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like, and they work like ants. They start like climbing on each other and help each other up.
Yeah.
Like that's you're kind of
I would just...
Walking Dead zombies take it all day.
Yeah.
They move slow, cut off the head, you're good to go.
Just a little horde.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you don't get caught by a horde. Because that's what ultimately, kills them.
That's how
too.
most people get killed, by the hordes and stuff.
But
it really is. Numbers are your friends and your enemy. Depends on whose numbers. If you have a big group, that's good for you. But if the zombies outnumber you, then that's bad.
Yep. Because
you can't fight off everybody. But even in the end of this, I thought some way they can fight all these off. It's just a small town. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought they could have lived too, but that wasn't
in the script. Nope. And so I think now we're after having the conversation and Mindy goes and does the crowd control and they're gonna try to get to the bottom of it. We transition over to Austin Butler's characters, right? And Selena Gomez and someone else was with them.
Yeah, I don't think he's as big of a name as either
unfortunately.
of them. His name is Luca Sabat.
Got it.
Sabat.
But yeah, they're basically on a road trip.
Zoe and what was Jack? Jack was Austin Butler. Zoe is obviously Selena Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zach was Jack. What did I just say his name was? Luca. But yeah, they're passing through this town essentially, and they need to get gas. So that's really their only reason for stopping. And they end up pulling into the gas station that Bobby works at. Apparently, that's the gas station. Yeah. His little convenience store / gas station. And as they were driving up, the Dead Don't Die started playing.
Oh, that's true.
Again.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, I love this song.
Yeah, exactly. And then she was like, oh, the Dead Don't Die. And I was like, we could have, because every time the movie ever says its title in it, like if someone says the title, I'm like, roll credits.
That's it.
So that's, And I was like, we could have rolled the credits like 80 times by now with how
But that just goes to show how much they are hammering it in.
Yeah.
On like, this is the theme song.
This is the theme song. This is the whole point of it. The dead do not die. Yeah. But they end up at Bobby's gas station. Yeah. Bobby's gas station /
comic book store / convenience store /
everything you need store.
Yeah.
I would have been a cool store to go to.
It also just kind of looked like his bedroom.
Yeah.
It was such and like
assortment of stuff. He's got like a Night of the Living Dead poster on the case and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, what a good little nod to all these zombie movies.
But
it would have been cooler if he was wearing a Nosferatu shirt,
which gets pointed out by Zoe.
Yeah. But it would have been fun if he had some sort of zombie.
Even more meta. But he ends up speaking to Miss Zoe because she kind of comes up and she's asking him questions. And you kind of get like this is a point where when he sees her, you get like this glitter, like sparkle around her face, which is kind of just like, there's a few moments in the movie where I don't know if that's called, it's not breaking the fourth wall, but it's kind of like,
it almost makes it like magical, fantastical.
Yeah. I like a fairy tale movie or something like that.
Because all of a sudden she like quite literally lights up.
And it's basically supposed to show like, man, he like, oh man, here's a cute girl. Like, you know.
Yeah, because she was also looking really fucking good.
Yeah. Whenever she was walking around in the little booty shorts.
Yeah. I was like, damn, Selena. You go, Zoe. Yeah, she looked really good. And sorry, I want to backtrack just 2 little bits to the little kids that as they were coming out of the convenience store, because the little kids were like there before, and Bobby's like, bye, and then one of them goes, turn blue, Bobby.
Oh, that's right.
and then as Austin Butler's character Jack tries to say like, oh hey kids, they go, eat me. And I was like, these little kids are just so fucking.
And doesn't he say like, oh, cute kids or something like that?
But it was so funny. The turn blue, Bobby. He didn't even hesitate with that comment.
Yeah.
Bobby was like, bye.
These are some badass little kids.
Yeah. I was like, oh. And then they die later. We see them back at the store
where they love to be at because they got candies. And so with Zoe, she's talking to him. And then the 2 boys come back up to the counter where he's at, and they're basically kind of like giving him a hard time. Yeah, essentially, like they're bullies. They're just being dicks.
Yeah.
Because I guess they can kind of tell like he's into like, you know, more like comic book stuff, sci-fi stuff, and so you
nerdy
know
things.
I was not going to use the term nerdy.
Oh,
I feel personally attacked. Thank you, Caitlin.
me too.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
But yes, nerdy things. And so they're being dicks. And so does she ask him about the motel, or they just end up at the motel? Is that what it is? Yeah.
She does ask him about the motel, and he was like, yeah, we've got one. It's kind of like an old school vibe. And then that's when the guy goes like, oh, like in Psycho with these little bungalows. And he was like, the Bates Motel in Psycho was not these little bungalows, separated bungalows. He got so offended, which I did too.
Well, because he was like, don't be a dick in my store, and then also give false information, literally.
Or misrepresent a film.
Yeah. And so at this point too, I think they mentioned something else. I was just going to say it and I forgot that fast. But yes, there's the whole little interaction. They learn about the motel. They call him Frodo. That's right.
That's the WUPS. Only the WUPS driver can call him Frodo. Yeah. What's up, Frodo? They
end up heading out. They're going to the motel. And at this point, do they end up bumping into Ronnie and Cliff right before going in? Because he's talking to Danny, right?
Yes. But before that, we bump back to Zelda going to the police department.
Oh, that's right.
And this is really like maybe not an important scene, but we get Zelda coming in and asking Mindy if her and the physically attractive one are dating, which would be Ronnie. Yeah. Asking about Ronnie and Mindy. And I love how Zelda also uses their full names. She's like Officer Minerva something.
And she's like, you can just call me Mindy.
Yeah. And then Mindy also called Zelda by her last name, Miss Winston. She was like, you can call me Zelda. But then she uses everyone's full name, which it was funny to me. Yeah. I don't know why.
The whole movie is funny to you, Caitlin. You've mentioned it 100 times.
I like it.
Or you said it was 100. What did you say earlier? Something about 100. I don't remember. But yes, it also just goes to show that, like, even more so, Zelda is not normal, essentially, in her interactions with the other town folk.
And she feels very like, are you and this human, like, I don't know. What's a word for dating that sounds...
Well, it's like whenever, like, it gives very like Sheldon from like Big Bang Theory, how he talks about people are using coitus, like, or something like that. Yeah. Not something that a normal person would just, even if they were talking about this stuff, like
very formal
technical terms.
Yeah.
And so they end up going to the motel. Cohabitating. Is that what she said?
No.
Oh, okay.
But she does actually use the word dating, but it feels like she would be just talking as if like she's an alien and she's observing this species and trying to figure out, trying to get all the knowledge.
But we don't know that she's an alien just yet.
No, we don't.
No. And so at this point, I think we're back at the motel, right? And they run, Danny and Cliff and Ronnie are there talking.
Yeah, Danny, Cliff, Ronnie are there.
That's the same, right, Danny? Yeah.
And they're basically talking about, well, Danny brings up how his cats are missing and stuff like that. And Cliff was just basically like, okay, well, they could just be hiding.
They're trying to just rationalize it.
Yeah. And then they're talking and Zoe needs money for the snack machine. Yeah,
because she's asking if there's a diner or something open in town, but they're like, unfortunately, as of this morning, it is no longer open.
Yeah.
Because
closed
obviously we saw what happened with Fern and Lily, and so Danny says that there's a vending machine inside, but she needs quarters. So Ronnie starts giving her change, which he doesn't even exchange. He just gives her, and you can tell that he's like flirting with her in a way. And even Cliff and Danny are just kind of watching like what's happening here.
Yeah. And she was kind of flirting back. She was like, I like your badge.
Just a little bit.
Stuff, which was like, what?
It's what happened next though that honestly kind of made me LOL, because they're looking at him like, what? And he's just like, I have an affinity for Mexicans.
That girl's part Mexican.
That girl is part Mexican. They're like, how do you know that? And he was like, I just know.
I have an affinity for them. I've been down there twice.
Literally. Oh my gosh.
Oh God.
That's hilarious. No, it reminds me of every other white person that comes into my work and is like, oh, I just love Mexico. I've been to Mexico so much. And then they try to speak Spanish to me and I'm like, okay. Thank you. And then they're like, and then they're always like, oh, I know the cuisine. I know it like it's the back of my hand. I'm a professional now. Oh my God, give me the chili relleno. I've eaten so many different kinds of chili rellenos. Oh my God, I just love chili rellenos and beans. And it's, yeah.
I do love beans.
And beans are good. I love beans too. But it's just the energy. And so anyways, at this point, are we back with the kids at the detention center? Because I think they're now talking or whatever. Or no, it's...
Yeah, Hermit Bob finds Moby Dick, first off, and we get a quote that he uses again at the end of the movie, the like numberless souls with numerous something. I don't know. I wrote it down at the end of the movie, but again, didn't write it down here.
Because it's like a poem, essentially. It almost kind of rhymes, like all of his narration at the end and stuff. Like an outro. And
so he quoted Moby Dick there, and he'll quote it again at the end. So just a weird little random thing. But yes, then we are with the kids and Geronimo. They're looking out the window at this moment, kind of like trying to see everything unfold. Because
weird shit is happening. Like the world looks like it's apocalyptic.
Yeah, exactly. And Geronimo pops up and basically he's talking about it being the undead. And he's saying, yeah, no, that's what's happening.
It's literally, because it's so dry. It's literally just saying, no, this is what it is.
Yep.
And then, of course, the asshole freaking detention center worker comes up and is like, come on, stop being with the girls. You got to go back to your own.
Do you want to be a girl, Geronimo?
Yeah.
He said that earlier, but still, so awful.
They were assholes. Yeah. But I guess that's how it be. And so we're probably back with Cliff and Ronnie because they're actually going to check out like the cemetery to see if, their suspicions are true. And yeah, we have them catching and looking on all these open graves.
Yep. Cliff literally falls into one of the holes. And I love how he kind of he's still
skeptical at this point.
He didn't feel like he still believed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, you literally just fell in a grave, but okay.
Like to him, there's still something like rational.
And this is another point where Adam goes, this isn't going to end well.
Nope.
Yep. And,
I think even Hermit Bob follows them after and goes to the graves too to check out what they were looking at.
Looking at the holes now, and he was like, "God damn it, ghouls, full on flesh-eating zombie shit, no question." Yeah,
definitely calling it as it is. And at this point, I think what's his face, Cliff and Ronnie, they're talking and they're I think this is where we get the conversation of like how you like deal with zombies, right? Because he's telling him like cut off. We get this like said so many times throughout the movie. Cut off the head. Make sure to kill the head.
Only way to kill the dead is to kill the head. Yeah,
which is pretty much true in all zombie movies. I feel like they all follow that same.
Or double tap at least.
You have to like or the brain, right? Yeah. That's what it is.
Got to do something in the brain because the brain's what's reanimating them. I also love how I just keep wanting to call him Adam. Ronnie. I love how Ronnie was like, so are we going to keep on informing people? Because we just passed Farmer Miller's house. And Cliff goes, fuck Farmer Miller.
Yeah.
I was like,
we're not letting him know shit.
Yeah. And then he was like, but he is a civilian of this town.
Yeah.
And he was like, fine, we'll have Mindy call him.
Yeah.
Let him know. But we're not going to his fucking house. That was a funny tidbit to me.
Everybody hates Farmer Miller.
Yeah, they do.
And so, like they were talking about what they're going to do. And then at this point, it transitions over to Zoe and Zach and what's the other boy's name? Zoe, Zach, and
Jack.
Zach and Jack just rhymes too much. But yeah, they're watching the news and they're also kind of figuring out like, oh shit, like some serious stuff is going down.
And this is on the news. I love how yet again it goes, it looked like an attack by wild animals. Or maybe several wild animals.
Yeah, that's the Rosie Perez character. Yeah, she's pretty. I love her delivery. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And at this point, what's his name? Danny. He's outside and he's trying to still look for his cats. And I love how the more zombies start like popping up and they start to see the marquee and like the lights for the motel. And they're right behind him and they're just like free cable. And he turns on, he's like, yeah, free cable. And before he can even, finish the sentence, he starts getting attacked by them. So it's just like how the ones from earlier were talking about like the hot coffee and they're like free cable. It's trying to like, do show the thread line where we learn later that like they all start to basically essentially.
They're drawn to what they were in life.
Doing what they were before they died. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're back with Cliff and Ronnie, and they go back to the station where Mindy is at. And this is where we get Miss Chardonnay. What's her name again? Mallory?
Mallory, yes. Mallory is her name in this film. Yeah, she just gets up and she's all of a sudden standing there because they were having a very matter-of-fact conversation where Ronnie was just delivering everything like, well, this is what it is.
This is what's happening. And then I love how even Mindy was like, but the people on the radio, and they're saying that that's not true. And he just looked at her like,
Are you serious right now, Mindy? Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
yeah,
Mallory's standing up and they're like, what the fuck? And she goes, Chardonnay.
I love how they're just like, did she just say Chardonnay?
Shit. Did she just say that?
And Cliff is like, yup.
That's exactly what she said. Because even whenever earlier he was like,
Cliff was talking over her body.
Yeah, even in death, you still smell like Chardonnay.
Yeah. So this woman had an affinity for Chardonnay.
Yes.
And so that's all she keeps saying. And it's funny because Cliff wants to like try to take care of it. So he tries to shoot her, but he misses like 3 times, even though she's right in front of him.
Yeah.
And so I love how Ronnie's like, it's okay, I'll take care of it. And he starts like hacking. Where did he get the machete from?
Well, they just came in from the tool store.
The tool store. Okay.
So they had all of and that's what they were speaking so matter-of-factly about, because Mindy was like, why do we even need all this?
Yeah.
What is this for? And he was like, well, there's zombies out there. So blah, blah, blah. We need this. And so, yeah, that's where he got the machete from. But it wasn't a very sharp machete.
No, because it took him like 5-7 hacks to like chop her head off. And then when he did, like all of this ash and like decay, I don't know, started like popping out of her body. It looked like
when you
a mist.
Poke a little fungus.
Yeah, like an onion, like a mushroom spore. Yeah, I was about to say onion spore. But they knock her head off and her head rolls on the floor and she's still saying Chardonnay, which really freaks Mindy out.
Yeah, she just screams.
Yeah.
Mindy does not handle this well.
No, she is definitely the character in a movie that like is freaking out at times 1000%.
Yes.
Throughout the whole movie. She's never really chill.
No.
And so at this point, after they knock her head off, they're still trying to like think about like what the fuck we're gonna do. But Zelda ends up like walking through the streets and like killing all these zombies with her sword, her katana, and like they're watching her do it. And she comes up to the station, and this is when they're like trying to figure out what to do next. And she's flirting with what's his face?
Ronnie.
And then even between that, I think it cut to the farmer with the zombies because they end up knocking at his door.
Yeah, Farmer Miller's getting attacked. I also love how we flash to Zelda and she's like making the bodies. She's doing the most bizarre
that's what it is.
makeup.
Yes, I'm sorry.
She's
I got ahead.
She looks like she's making them like drag queens.
Yeah.
And
it's very like Ursula.
Got green blush. Yeah. And stuff like that. And then whenever their
bodies are moving, their arms are moving out,
their eyes keep popping open. And I like the little dings that happen when their eyes flashed open. And then whenever they stood up or sat up, they didn't stand, sorry. Whenever they sat up and she just like,
I love it. And she says right before, she's like, so the dead just don't want to die today.
Exactly. Yeah. And then she was like, that's a shame. I had them looking so bonny.
So what is Balmy or Bonnie?
Bonnie is
Bonnie, like Bonnie and Clyde, or
I
like
have no clue.
Okay, because I heard her say that too, but I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
maybe it just means she didn't know she's an alien, so maybe she thought it meant like beautiful or something like that, or something, some character she saw.
Or maybe it's a Scottish thing.
Maybe. So Bonnie, I thought like I thought she said, but you said your closed captioning said Bonnie, right? Because I didn't have the closed captioning on, so I just heard it. I thought she said like balmy, like embalmed. Like a balmy, like I don't know.
Or balmy, like dewy.
Yeah, I can see that. But yes, she cut off their heads so like unfazed as well.
Yeah,
and was just
ready.
Like, okay, yeah.
It's time to cut off the heads.
She knew what to do immediately.
Very, very normal thing. But yeah, then Farmer Miller's getting attacked. And
then we're back with Bobby and Hank at the hardware store.
Yeah. And we're seeing like all of these. We're also getting the flashes of the zombies like going up to Bobby's store saying like candy, Snapple,
Siri.
Yeah. And then going up the one at the pharmacy going Xanax.
Oh yeah.
Oxy. Like just running into the door. And then that's when we see that the whoops guy got eaten.
Yeah.
Sad. But we're gathering that they're somewhat intelligent zombies, at least. They're allowed to talk.
They are, what's the word? Like sentient? Is that the right word to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they communicate with each other, which also hella scary because then zombies can create democracies and like form societies.
And then we'll have a zombie society. Well,
that's wild.
I guess if we're all zombies, it wouldn't be much different.
That's true. Yeah. Huh. That really like drives in, like his movie really does make you like start asking questions, because then it's like, if that did become a thing, what is the ethical thing? Do we like do a genocide and like eradicate them, or do we let them create their own society and like live peacefully with
they
zombies?
Live peacefully,
because they would have to eat human flesh at some point. Like, how does that work? Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue? I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, and brain fog. But luckily, there's a solution. Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt, and is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO, making it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions or preferences. The packets are convenient and easy to use. Just mix with water and drink. They're perfect for on the go, travel, or anytime you need a quick and effective hydration boost. Hydration is more than just drinking water. That's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. Lauren founded Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mixed to make hydrating easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they use only the highest quality plant-based ingredients and avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. Ready to combat dehydration? Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use code BOO for 20% off your order.
Are you tired of the same old boring puzzles? Mix things up with Wongo puzzles. Each puzzle is a custom design with intricate patterns and whimsical shapes that will keep you engaged for hours. Plus, their eco-friendly materials and commitment to sustainability make Wongo puzzles a guilt-free way to unwind. Wongo puzzles are 100% wooden puzzles, meaning they'll last forever. Each piece is hand-drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun, whimsy pieces as you work through it. They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. With stunning design and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. So what are you waiting for? Go to wongopuzzles.com and pick your puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO and get 10% off of your order. This is the most fun you've had with the puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to Wongo, WONGO, puzzles.com and use the code BOO to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. Wongo.
And so there, all that shit is happening. And then this is when I got ahead earlier. My bad. We're back at the station and Zelda starts showing up after killing all those zombies, and they're watching her do it. And so she really looks like she can handle herself well, essentially.
And she just is like so casually killing the zombies on her way up and stuff too. I like how before, as they're just watching her come up, they're talking, and Mindy's like, isn't this where you're supposed to tell me that it's like all just a bad dream, like this, that it's all going to be okay and it'll all go away just like a bad dream? And Ronnie was like, I can't tell you that.
He's like, I can't lie to you.
Yeah. And then Cliff says it, and then she was like, really? And Ronnie's like, I doubt it. And I was like, you motherfucker.
It was pretty funny.
It was. And we also briefly had flashed to the detention center too, and all the guards are getting eaten, but the kids are safe. Just they're like so random in this story.
Yeah. It's literally like literally whenever they come up, it's literally like almost like no more than like a minute or two, and then it like goes back to everybody else.
Yeah. They're definitely the side characters. But yeah, Zelda is coming up, casually killing all the zombies on her way, and they're like, she's strange, she's Scottish. But yeah, that's where she's flirting and stuff with
Ronnie. And she sees his keychain, and it's the Falcon, the Millennium Falcon.
I don't think it was the Millennium Falcon.
Was it not? Oh,
maybe it was.
Just
maybe
a starfighter.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, I think it was. You're right.
It looked like the shape of it.
Or was it Kylo Ren's ship?
I don't know. I don't specifically remember what his ship looks like.
Me neither.
But I do know what the Millennium Falcon looks like, and it looked like that shape. Mm-hmm. But I digress. It's Star Wars, and I don't think it matters. But she was like making the point that like, oh, that's a very great, a piece of fiction, which is both jokes because she's an alien, and then like he's obviously from Star Wars.
Exactly.
And at that point, they're.
I love how everyone was struggling to get the bolt off the door, that thing. And then whenever Zelda puts it back after they've gone outside, because basically they decide to go patrol again, and Zelda's going to stay there and
do the
hold down
communications and all that stuff and be in charge of all that.
And Ronnie at first was like, is this even okay? And Cliff was like, yeah, it's fine. But everyone was like using two hands and like struggling to get the bolt off of the door, and Zelda just puts it back with one hand.
That's it.
Yeah. She's like so strong. I was like, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty badass. Well, and also she's an alien, and also it's funny because like you said, Ronnie was like, someone should stay with her, and she obviously can handle herself. So that's what that was to show for it. And then they end up leaving her. They go on the streets, and basically we're observing all the zombies kind of doing what they were doing earlier, and like, they're gravitating to what they're familiar with, which is getting explained by Ronnie. And it's also funny to me because Ronnie is very much like the person who has all the info, to where it's almost like, which we know why later he knows everything, but it becomes like, too much. Like, what aren't you? You're a part of this. Yeah. Are you causing this?
You could have helped us prepare from a long time ago or something. Yeah. And this is where we get the scene where he like tells them to slow down, and he hacks one's head off while driving, which was pretty cool. I liked that. And then Mindy, they run one over, and Mindy's like freaking out about them running it over.
She's like, why'd you have to do that?
Yeah. And he's like, it's not an ordinary pedestrian.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different, Mindy. And she was just like, no.
Mindy the whole time has been very shaken by the situation.
Yeah.
And they end up arriving to the motel after. Did they stop by anywhere else? They drive by the hardware store, do they not? Or no, that's after, my bad. They go to motel first.
We do flash by Farmer Miller just blowing the heads off one by one.
Oh, that's true.
And yelling fucking trespassers at the zombies as they come up. And which I feel like, I wonder if he even realized they were zombies at that point, or if he was just shooting them because they were trespassing.
When he shot that one at the door, he was like, well, that was fucking weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just going off on them. And then we get back to the motel, and that's whenever they're checking things out. Does Danny pop out first? Is that what happens? Or no, they just end up going into the motel.
Yeah, I don't think they see Danny until later when they're
all
the
coming
cemetery.
up. Yeah. But they end up checking the rooms, and that's when we find that Zoe, Zach, and Jack were killed or attacked, probably by Danny, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was eating one of their arms whenever he was like, Cleveland. I think he was maybe eating Zach's arm.
And so that's whenever they end up, Ronnie goes in and he starts chopping off all their heads.
Yep.
And
Mindy again is like, why are you doing that? They're just dead. And he was like, for now.
Yeah, they're
dead hipsters.
They're going to reanimate. And he's just like holding Selena's head up by her hair.
Yep. I loved how he stopped right before her too to pick up the Sturgill Simpson CD.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, Sturgill Simpson. And it was like, boy, like you haven't heard this song enough.
He loves it.
He loves it.
He loves it. In honor of Selena too, because Zoe, because her character loved the song as well.
Yep. So much that she spent $12 for a CD that had one track.
One track only. And so that's whenever we cut back to Miss Zelda at the police station, and she's doing she's like running code on the computer.
Yeah.
Which was it was very quick. It's a really quick blip, but Yeah, she's running code, and that you can tell she's communicating with someone or something. And at that point I was like, there's something, what is she doing? She's up to something. Like her character seems shady. But at this point we're back with them after they leave the hotel, and they are passing by the hardware store.
Yep. And then they put on the CD again too.
And at this point we find out that Bobby and Hank are in the hardware store.
Yeah,
right?
they were like, Bobby and Hank are in there. Do you think we should go get them? And they're like,
no.
Yeah, basically because they started attracting attention of some of the other ones.
That's right, yeah.
And Mindy was like, please just drive. Get out of here. But yeah, and then that's when...
it cuts to them in there, and they're hiding out, and they have the front of the thing boarded up, right? But then we start hearing pounding on the back of the store. Yeah,
they're getting swarmed. And basically, they break through that back door, and... You can just only assume, you can hope that they fought their way out.
Because you see them shoot one, and then Hank tries to get another with like some shears.
Yeah.
But then needs Bobby's help, and then it cuts away from them. But there was a lot of zombies coming through that door.
There was at least 12 or something. It was a big little swarm of them. And big little swarm of them.
Big little swarm. And now, big little swarm. But yeah, they are fighting and they're doing their best, but it cuts away from them, and then that's whenever we get back with the children, the whatchamacallit, I don't know what's called, the detainees,
I just call
the
them
preteens, the children. Yeah,
I called the Zoe and them the teens.
The teens, okay.
And then these were the children.
Okay, gotcha. We're back with the children at school. And at this point, this is where they're trying to escape, is it not? Yeah, they're trying to get out because obviously, like we saw earlier, all of the workers and stuff were getting attacked and killed.
And they make it out.
They do.
Then we flash to Farmer Miller getting eaten.
Yeah,
through
the lens of Hermit Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, through Hermit Bob's eyes. And he was like, basically like, good riddance. And then he was like, this is good chicken. He's eating like a chicken leg.
Yeah.
Or something.
Which is where we saw where one of Miller's chickens ended up. And at this point, I think we're back we're not at the station, but we're with Mindy.
Yeah, we're back with their officers.
They're in the car. That's right.
And then
she's freaking out.
Ronnie goes, this is definitely going to end badly. And Cliff's like, shut up, Ronnie. And then Mindy's like, please stop fighting.
Yeah.
She's like freaking out in the back seat because they're like basically going on back and forth. And Ronnie's just like, well, what? Like, it's definitely going to end badly.
And at this point, Mindy's also like being like, just tell me it's all going to be okay. Like, it's going to be okay. And I think what Cliff does try to tell her it's going to be okay. And then, Cliff's the one just trying to calm her down. Yeah. But at this point, is this where she sees her fucking grandma?
Yeah. Granny's at the window. Because you hear one go, Mindy.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh God, Granny.
Yeah. And she loses her shit. And she's like, I can't take it anymore. I'm joining you. I'm coming, Granny.
Yep. She just gets out of the car to end it all.
And like a swarm of zombies that are around them. So she obviously, like, you just start hearing her, screaming and getting pulled away. And Cliff is like, Mindy, no. And Ronnie's like, seriously?
This fucking bitch.
Yeah.
She's dumb as hell.
Literally.
Yeah. And then this is where we get Zelda driving the smart car. And she's like, what an odd piece of little machinery.
Because she left their station. She's leaving. And she ends up in that smart car pulling up to a zombie girl who's just like,
Fashion.
She's like a fashion zombie, I guess. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I know that tartan isn't yours.
Yeah.
But your neck looks nice.
Yeah.
And just like with the sword, just like
slashes it
right off. Just pops off.
I can assure you that is not your tartan. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I saw my tartan when I went to Scotland.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. My mother's maiden name is McAllister.
Oh, okay.
So McAllister is pretty Scottish. And I found the McAllister plaid.
Wow.
So I have a tartan.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool that you can trace your ancestry that far back.
Well, it's just my mom.
Oh. But I mean, ish. I can't get past my parents' grandparents.
Oh, yeah. McAllister's just a Scottish name.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. I remember it was pretty embarrassing when I had to do a family tree for the 4th grade.
Oh,
and trying to get information from my parents were like, we don't know.
Yeah.
We no records, no nothing.
You should do 23andMe.
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
It's kind of weird.
I haven't.
You have to send your DNA in.
I guess. But also I feel like I don't know. Like, I don't really care to like know what percentage of whatever it would be. It would be way more interesting if the 23andMe could tell me like your grandmother was this person, your grandfather was that one person. You know what I mean? Like that's what I need. Like I don't even have names of people.
Yeah.
Like it's just like we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. We know back to. I know. I had a great grandma Mac.
Great grandma Mac.
Yep. Great grandma
on your mom's side.
Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. But also, back to the movie. Ronnie and Cliff are stuck in the car, obviously because there's all these zombies hoarding around them. They're just like driving really slowly, essentially, trying to get through it. And at this point, Ronnie is saying again, like, I know this is going to end all badly. And Cliff is finally like fed up with it. And he's like, why do you keep saying that?
How did you know?
You've been saying that all day.
Since the beginning, you've been saying it.
And Ronnie's like, well, do you really want to know? And I felt Cliff is just like, yeah, I'm asking you. I really, really want to know. And he's like, well, it's because I read the script.
Yep. And then Cliff was like, what?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Jim, what's the...
Jim, the director?
Yeah, Jim. He was like,
Jarmusch.
Jim, give me the whole script. And Cliff was like, what the fuck? Like, I've done so much for that guy, and I was only given our scenes.
Yeah.
And he was like, so offended, personally, just like, what the hell?
Yeah. And he's like basically in the dark of what was supposed to happen, and Ronnie or Adam because at this point it's weird because it's not breaking the fourth wall, but is kind of breaking the fourth wall because it's like, are these the actors that we know that are playing these characters, or is it just some random actors playing these characters in this movie? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not actually them themselves. But Cliff is just like, damn, well, I'll be damned, essentially. And that's whenever I think they see the
fucking flying saucer pops up.
Yeah, they're trying to drive, and whatever, they start to see a flying saucer pop up, and that's whenever it was cutting in between Zelda showing up at the cemetery and walking into them through the zombies, and they're not even attacking her.
Yeah, they're parting.
They're parting for her, and she's going right to the center, and that flying saucer comes and abducts her.
Just beams her right up.
And at first I thought, oh, maybe she's taking the zombies with her or something like that. But no, it just takes her herself.
Yep, and then it goes right off. So,
yeah.
I can assume that coding was her calling for help.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. And that she was like, I'm bouncing out. This earth is doomed right now. Yeah. We can't terraform here anymore.
Yeah.
Literally. And so she ends up leaving, and I love how Ronnie and Cliff are like, did you see that? Like, what the fuck was that? What
I'm seeing?
And then what Cliff says, is that in the script? And he was like, no, it wasn't in mine.
Yeah. Not in the one I read.
Yeah.
And they were like, I knew there was something unusual about her.
And so at this point, after she gets beamed up, they're just like sitting there, and Cliff is like, well, how does it end? And then Ronnie's like, badly.
But we got to give it our best shot.
Exactly. That's pretty much it. And so Hermit Bob is, at this point, is that when the narration takes over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hermit Bob's like, Cliff and little Ronnie, warriors among the dead. And then he says zombies, remnants of the materialistic people. And he's narrating, and basically this is the quote from Melville, the nameless miseries of the numberless mortals. And it's all these like poetic sentences that he's just saying back to back while we're watching Ronnie, but whenever Hank does come up, and Cliff decides to let him live.
He's like, I can't do it, Hank. Just please.
And I love how
try
Hank
to take care of yourself.
Is polite even in death. He just waves, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, he's so pure
because
through and through.
All the townspeople that we've seen throughout the whole film are now walking up on them, and they're having to basically kill them all off. We have, Frank. We have Bobby. We had a granny, Cliff's granny. I love how Cliff did not hesitate though to kill Granny.
Was it his granny?
I think it was his granny.
Okay.
or Mindy's.
Maybe Mindy's granny.
It might have been Mindy's granny then. Yeah, it was someone's granny. But then
you should say hi to Grandpa.
But then he lets Frank go, and then
Hank go. He does kill Frank.
That's
he goes,
right.
Fuck you, Frank. You reap what you sow. And he blows his head right off. Wait,
the farmer Miller. Yeah.
Miller.
My bad. I put an F where an H should have been.
No, I think his name is Frank. I think it's Frank Miller.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then
it might be.
He lets Hank go.
Yeah. Too many inks, and then Mindy pops up and he kills her.
Ronnie kills.
They just end up
her right dead.
They end up getting surrounded by all the zombies.
Yep. And this is where we get Hermit Bob saying the dead just don't want to die today. reanimated and jacked up just like those ants. It's the end of the world. And he goes, this is the sad end of Cliff and Ronnie. What a fucked up world.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends.
And that's it. And that's 2019's The Dead Don't Die.
The dead don't die.
Is that how it
the
goes?
Same as you and I. Something like that.
Do you have any fun facts for this one?
I do, but how about you tell me your boo rating first?
No, let's do the fun facts.
Okay.
Fun facts now.
Fun facts now. My fingers
Or I
keep hitting
dropped
all the
that.
wrong buttons.
It's okay.
I'll get to it.
I'll tell you
Trivia.
what.
Okay.
Oh, there's a trivia.
That's where I get my fun facts
Oh,
from.
okay.
The giant ant hills are real, and they were an accidental discovery while filming Hermit Bob in the Woods. Jim liked them so much he added the scene in the dialogue spontaneously.
Oh, well,
Those
works.
were some really fucking massive ant hills.
Yeah.
I thought they were just...
It looked more like termite.
Yeah, like
domes,
mounds.
mounds. Yeah, whatever those are called. They were huge.
When... Oh, that's so fun. Okay,
Someone
I love
actually
this.
died on set. And there was a real zombie. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. When the three cops were driving down the road toward the cemetery, Adam Driver's character leans out the window with a machete to cut off the head of one particular zombie. The zombie is dressed in the same clothes and with the same hair as Bill Murray's character in the 2009 Zombieland.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah. Which...
Oh, wow. Yeah. Bill Murray was in 2 zombie movies now that I think about it. He was in Zombieland.
It's Bill freaking Murray.
Yeah. I'm glad he got a bigger role in this part than just like getting
I
axed
love
off.
Zombieland
But zombie
too.
in that role, it's pretty funny. Yeah.
It was. According to Jim Jarmusch, Iggy Pop asked him prior to shooting what the backstory for his zombie character was, and Jarmusch explained he and his girlfriend were killed on his motorcycle in 1973 after leaving a Blue Oyster Cult concert. Iggy Pop actually performed with Blue Oyster Cult and Kiss in 1973.
Oh, wow.
The singer
That's
of the
cute.
film's theme song, Sturgill Simpson, has a cameo as the zombie with the guitar.
Oh, really?
Yep. And then
He got a lot. It's just Jim Jarmusch must really like be likable because he got a lot of big names to be in this movie.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
The movie is filled with references to George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, including an appearance of the infamous naked zombie played by the original actress. Oh, yeah, there was a naked zombie in there. And so that was played by the original actress. Also, the 3 hipster teens are mistakenly believed to come from Pittsburgh, the city Romero studied and started his director career in.
Gotcha.
So.
Oh, yeah, because Danny was like, oh, yeah, they're from Pittsburgh. And he was like, but then Ronnie was like, why does the license plate say Ohio or something like that?
I bet you it's Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's my fun facts for this.
Oh. Well, thank you for
this
that.
film.
Those
are fun. I liked the Zombieland little cameo reference. That's so fun.
That was yeah, I'm reading up on this Jarmusch guy. I'll have to read more even later. He's a pretty interesting character. Yeah, so boo ratings. Let's go into it. I would have to say there was a lot of, I feel like there were a lot of good and funny scenes in the movie and dialogue wise that had me laughing. But I also feel I feel like maybe like the kids scenes and stuff that kind of felt a little bit like added for runtime maybe.
Yeah.
Not essentially to like drive the plot. And then even a few instances with some of the other characters in the movie. But even when they were kind of talking, it felt at times like, honestly, I would have also just loved it if it was Cliff and Ronnie the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, because they were really like the stars of the movie and their chemistry and like their talking and banter together. But overall, I'd say I'd have to get it like a 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a 2.5, like right in the middle. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you loved it. It's like gonna get a 5 from you. But there were just some hit and misses on some of the jokes. There were some jokes that were for me that were like just like so funny that some of the other jokes and dialogue weren't as funny as those jokes. Like the Chardonnay bit, like that was hilarious. Like the several wild animals, like that was hilarious. Like there was a very laugh out loud moments, but then there were a few moments where I was like, it doesn't compare to like what I was just watching. Yeah, in essence. But
that's fair.
But and also it's just a weird ass movie.
Yeah.
Like there's really kind of no it's like you're basically watching something that's happening, and I feel like there's no beginning and end really. Like you're just kind of getting an excerpt. So I feel like there was kind of that wanting of some not closure, but maybe like a bigger, like the thing with the alien or ship, like maybe something for there to be more tied in with that part. But also I was in reading up in the movie, there's a lot of like metaphor, and like he's really trying to make a commentary on like the whole polar fracking and all that stuff. And even though polar fracking, I don't think that they're fracking at the poles right now, but they are fracking fracking on our, on our soil here in America and stuff like that, and like other climate change events that are kind of polluting and making the world bad for us. And I feel like it's not my idea, but I know that I read somewhere that Zelda's character was essentially like the rich people who like can avoid the problem, and like, oh, we're leaving, we're
just gonna go to outer space.
Yeah, literally like that. So it's pretty smart. It's a pretty smart and dead and pan humor movie, but for me it's gonna get a 2.5.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
I
don't think I'll give it a 5. I do love it, but I think I'll give it a 4.5. Yeah. 4.5.
When you watched this in the theater, right? When it came out.
Yeah, I saw this in theaters and I loved it then. And I told lots of people to go watch it afterwards. And this was only my second time watching it, mainly because I just didn't have access to it. And I didn't really want to rent it either. So, because I'd already seen it. So I was like, if it comes out anywhere, I'll watch it again. Yeah. But it didn't. So had to rent it for this. But
that's the level of commitment you have for this film.
Worth it though.
Yeah.
I think it was all very clever and witty, and I do have an incredibly dry sense of humor. So the dry humor really landed for me. And there were some bits that were, like you said, that were funnier than others. But to me, I was laughing basically the whole time. And even though this was an hour and 44-minute movie, it didn't seem that long to me. Like it felt really short, even though there isn't necessarily a storyline that's happening. I do feel there was a beginning and an end, just like the beginning of it. It had to end with Cliff and Ronnie, and once they died, it was like, okay, well,
that was it.
That's mainly our people who we were watching anyways. So might as well end the movie here, because what's the point of carrying on with Hermit Bob and stuff like that? Hermit Bob's going to be fine. He's going to keep being Hermit Bob.
Well, I think it was more so an explanation of just like what was going on. Yeah. Not necessarily. I mean, I get like...
But they did explain what was going on.
Yeah. In a way.
Or to why it was causing the dead to be reanimated.
Yeah. And then like, because it wasn't just polar fracking, it was also like weird lunar cycle or weird lunar stuff that was going on. So it was just a lot going on.
I think it's because probably it was the Earth the moon reacting to the Earth.
Oh, and then also the axis had gotten thrown off.
So it probably was just causing weird things to happen. Like maybe like Aurora Borealis. But around the moon or something. Maybe that's why it was purple.
And reanimating corpses.
Yeah. And causing, toxic lunar vibrations. Who knows? And also, I mean, is Hermit Bob the most reliable source of information? Maybe not.
Probably not.
So,
or he was the most in tune
with
all that's going on. Who knows?
But, overall, I really do enjoy this film. And it wasn't scary at all, but I appreciate all the thoughts and the references that went into it. That's really, I love anything that can sew those little things in. And it's still classified as a horror comedy. So I'm glad we covered it. It's a fun movie. I really like it.
I mean, I'm not telling you I hate it. I'm just
You're telling me you hate it.
No, I don't. I feel like that's how you feel. But I'm like, it just wasn't my favorite. But I liked it. There were good parts about it. I was laughing. It wasn't like just the whole time not laughing.
I know. I told Andrew to watch it because I rented it on his Apple TV. And I feel like he's going to be like, Caitlin, what the fuck? Why did you make me watch this movie? I understand that this movie is not for everyone.
But it does have a solid... Like you, it's not like it's just you. There are so many people who I'm sure agree with you on like this movie is great. Yeah. But a 2.5 and a 4.5 puts it at a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not too bad. It's good.
Or 3 point.
Yeah.
3.25.
3.25.
Yeah.
3.25 officially for The Dead Don't Die.
Dead Don't Die. Jim Jarmusch's 2019.
Yeah. I think
The Dead Don't Die.
We'll
I
have
love
to
the
check out a few
soundtrack.
more of his stuff. Even though
The
it's,
soundtrack,
the soundtrack
throughout the entire film, loved it.
Yeah.
Even though half of it was The Dead Don't Die.
Mm-hmm.
But just all the little like
Mm-hmm.
kind of things.
Did it remind you of the
Appalachia, it sure did. It was very bluegrassy.
Appalachian.
It also reminded me of The Strangers.
Oh yeah, I can
Remember
see that.
little
Mhm.
whenever the record starts kind of like pulling.
Like then it starts skipping and whatever, dragging. I don't know what that's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Repeating.
It kind of reminded me
It's on
of
a
that
loop.
with its little pulls and stuff like that. I really liked the soundtrack, which Jim Jarmusch actually made
composed it, right?
the music for this too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with Squirrel.
Squirrel.
SQU with a umlaut over it. RL. Squirrel.
I can't. That all just went over my head, but I'll try. Yeah. But yeah, well, that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, I forgot to mention
can't.
that. This was the soundtrack last week is what threw me off, and this week I really appreciated it.
So that's good.
I guess maybe also because there wasn't necessarily a whole big overarching plot storyline, super meta, metaphorical storyline to get into, but
yeah.
So there's no really driving the plot. It just was all well placed. I barely noticed it, but when I did notice it, I thought
or like
it was
the
really
dings, or like the little glitter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The little sound effects were fun.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. But as always,
yeah, we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studio.
That's right. They take great care of us, and you can listen to us or any of the other amazing podcasts on this network at
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
That's right. And if you would also like to listen on the two biggest platforms, that would be
Apple
and also Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that's the only way we can get ahead in this world. And also word of mouth. Tell your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everyone. Tell your cats.
Tell your zombies.
Tell your zombies.
Yeah.
Tell them. And, whenever you die and become a zombie, you just say BooBaes.
Or yourself. Yeah, exactly.
BooBaes.
We'll just have to
repeating that.
engrave it into everybody's brain.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to reach out to us and let us know any other summer films you think we should cover, or because we don't have anything picked out for next week yet, or if you want to let us know your thoughts on The Dead Don't Die, you can do so by reaching out to us on our one social media platform, which is Instagram, and that is at
BooBaes Podcast, and that's at BOOBAES, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right.
Yes.
And until next time, you guys.
The dead don't die.
The dead don't die.
Bye,
They
babes.
don't want to die today. Bye, babes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.